Well, good morning, guys, and welcome to the show. Fernando.
I'm here. Welcome to the show.
What you doing?
Just hanging out. Oh. Actually, I'm taking the measurements for the seat, time alignment, the whole 9 yards.
Nice. Today we're working on a 2021 Dodge Ram. Big white guy here in the install bay. Let's hop inside and we'll take a look what it has from the factory and what we'll be replacing. This is a Bighorn edition. It has that beautiful, ginormous touchscreen in the dash. It also has the factory Alpine system. The factory Alpine system is comprised of a center channel, 2 3.5s in the side, and 4 6x9s with a subwoofer behind the back seat, all of which we're going to show you. This one was a little bit of a challenge as far as what we wanted to do in it, and I'll explain why after the intro. These are a set of Infinity reference 3.5-inch coaxials in the dash. He already had these installed in the car when we got it. Must have bought the car and immediately put them in. He also bought 2 pairs of the matching 6x9 3-ways. It's a nice looking speaker for sure. And that is kind of where the comes in. It's really not the right idea for this particular car. So as we said at the opening, this car has 3.5s in the dash. It has some form of a center channel. It has 6x9-inch woofers in the door and also in the rear, and then a woofer behind the seat. We want to put a new system in it that sounds substantially better than the Alpine system that was in there. He's already got those in the dash, which has improved the sound drastically. Now we just need to finish it off and make it work. Meaning we want to keep those Infinity reference in the dash. He knows what they sound like. They sound good. They're loud. What do we do? Well, putting a 3-way 6x9 in the door where the factory subwoofer isn't the best option for this. But he's already bought them. And, well, we were only planning on going with the 4-channel amplifier. So we have a problem. What is the solution? Well, the obvious solution would be to go with a 6-channel amplifier, go with different speakers in the door that will complement the system, the 3.5s in the dash, and not compete against them. If we put that tweeter down low in the door and with the tweeter up in the dash, yes, you'll have more treble. You'll have a substantial amount of more treble. And if we were doing 412s in the back, wouldn't be a bad idea. We're just going to be doing 210s. We also want to keep a soundstage because the car currently has one. We're going to be doing DSR1 AR integration into this, so we have plenty of DSP channels to do whatever we want with. So going round and round and trying to figure out what is the best option for this, we came up with channels. Channels are going to be the best option for this. So for amplifiers, we're going to go with Kicker's KMA 606 6-channel amplifier and the KMA 801 sub-amplifier. These two amplifiers are going to give us the ability to go active on all 6 speakers as well as the subwoofer. And with the DSR1 AR integration, we'll have enough channels, 8, to actively cross the system over and have level and time alignment the way we want it. The one thing that we were kind of struggling with is what do we do with the 6x9 for the front door? He doesn't need the 3-way 6x9, and yes, we could put a bandpass crossover on it or just desolder the tweeter array from it so that those aren't fighting with the speakers in the dash, but we came up with a better option for that as well. Powerbase makes this guy, which is the OE690D. What makes this the ideal candidate for this is it is a dual 4-ohm 6x9 and it is a subwoofer replacement. That means that this 6x9 will either be a 2-ohm or an 8-ohm load on the amplifier. 2-ohm stereo would be awesome. That'll get us 100 watts out to those into the doors, and then 50 watts for the dash, 50 watts for the rear, which is perfect. We get that awesome staggered power output that we're looking for. We'll get more power to that mid bass so that we could really get a strong mid bass out of the door. We'll be able to actively cross everything over, time align the whole system. I'm excited. This is going to be fun for sure. Also going in this car for subwoofers is a set of Rockford P310s with grills. One of the things about this is he does have a child. The subwoofers are going to be facing up. We need something to protect them. Rockford makes an awesome grill to cover their drivers. Plus they just make an awesome big fat deep sounding subwoofer. He's got this big boy here, which looks like a Fox Acoustics 210 box. The nice thing about this is it does have the notch for the Ram. This is where those 2 cubbies are. These things here, the box is designed to sit in this area and give us a shape, but it has 2 woofers that face up. Kids, I remember those days. We'll be running 2 4-gauge Stinger kits to this, one for each one of the amplifiers. Have I forgotten anything, Fernando? Oh yes, we'll be using fast rings and sound treatment as well. That's the core system design that we have so far. We are going to be pulling the speakers out of the dash just to make sure that they were properly installed and that the connections are good and that there's no bass blockers on them. We want to make sure they have no bass blockers because the DSP is going to take care of that. Is that everything now?
Yeah.
All right. Well, nothing left but to get started. What are you going to start with?
I'm gonna start on the door.
As always, I'm gonna try to find a place to put these amplifiers, as well as we need to get underneath the driver's side seat because that's where the factory amplifier is at, and we'll be integrating it there. Oh, so much fun. Let's get going. Dodge has seen fit to not give you a lot of easy to get at space. In the past, you could put stuff underneath the seats. You can almost do it now, but not really. You'd have to lose the jack, and then on the driver's seat, you're either gonna have an ANC module or the factory amplifier, which this one does have. We do get to remove it because we're going with DSR1 AR integration, but still not a ton of room. If you're doing small amps, you might be all right. We're not doing small amps. That means we're gonna have to go behind the seat. And there again, even though we think, oh, behind the seat, there's still not a lot of room behind the back seat. There's some form of power management battery located behind the driver's side, but on the passenger side is the factory subwoofer. That's this little piece of carpet here. Naturally, that means we're gonna have to pull the seat out. There again, they didn't do a wonderful job of making that easy at all either. They use a inverted Torx style screw here and a regular nut in the back. You have the seat belt that are Torx that have to come out. You're looking at 3 different types of sockets just to get this back seat out. What a pain. And they are an 18mm for the back seat bolts, a T50 for the seat belts, and an E12 for the front of the seat bolts here. I decided to pull the whole back seat out. You could still get to this area here without pulling out this little guy, but we're gonna be running power wires along this side, so it just made sense to pull this seat out too. To get this back panel off, there is 4 of these little Christmas tree style clips located along the top and the bottom. Once those are out, this whole piece will fall off. I guess it was a good thing that we pulled this off, because what's missing is the giant backup battery that normally goes right here. That's pretty awesome. That frees up all this room. That's what this plug is for over here. Huh. All right then. This is gonna be plenty of room for our amplifiers on this side. It's also gonna allow us to leave both of our vents in. We won't have to pull those out. We can pull out the subwoofer if it's in the way, which I might do just because I'm gonna be running wires that way and I don't wanna have to deal with it, and it's not like it's doing anything. That's a good find. I'm glad we went all the way. I am gonna be putting the piece of carpet back on this, which means I'll have to cut out the area here where my amplifiers are going to be. I just want to make sure that I leave some here, so if anyone's looking at it this way, they don't see it. And of course, all of the top can stay in place, no problem. I have a bunch of areas along here that I can screw into to make my piece. There's actually some threaded spots already. That's kind of nice. I need to remove this side panel here along with this whole side of the truck for wire running. The plan is to run 2 4-gauge wires, obviously 1 for each amplifier with a fuse holder underneath the hood. The other part about this that I still have to figure out is the amplifiers underneath this seat. This is where the DSR1 is going to go. iData does make an extension cable that allows me to plug in there and put the DSR1 back here. I haven't figured out which way I want to go yet. I kind of want to put the DSR1 back here, but then I also kind of want to put it under there just so it's like easy to get to. These are the decisions that, you know, you got to grapple with, but we have time, so I'm not worried about that. I am going to pull out that subwoofer though. I don't feel I want to leave it there. It has a bunch of 10mm. Now, for those of you that do have the battery on this side, this is the factory subwoofer. And as you can see, it takes up a pretty decent amount of space. Putting your amplifiers here shouldn't be a problem. Keep in mind, if you need to, you can remove one of these vents, just don't remove both. Those are bigger than 10s. When removing a subwoofer enclosure or anything screwed to a floor like this, I always like to look through the holes to see if I can see daylight. A lot of the times these just go out to the outside of the car, and when you don't put them back in, that leaves an opportunity for water to get up in there. I'll be putting them back in. These two 12 millimeters that go up here clearly aren't going out to the back of the car. My guess is they fit these two screw holes here, which they do. I can use these bolts for my new amp rack that I'll be putting in. Ooh, look at this. I also have the factory ground point right here for that big battery they put in. It's painted over, of course, which means we'll pull it off, we'll shine it up, get it nice and ground ready, but we have a ground point.